And welcome back, guys and gals. So now we're actually getting into the fun stuff with Maya. We can actually start the process of creating things using Polygon object. We can start creating more complex shapes. I want to cover in this video what is polygon modeling. Polygon modeling is the process of moving and manipulating primitive polygon shapes into more complex objects. Now that we're going to be modeling, we do not need the timeline and range slider and all the stuff that we see down here. So I'm going to switch over into my modeling standard mode. So now that I'm in my modeling standard mode, you can see my modeling toolkit pops up and I've got a little bit more screen real estate to play with. Now I'm going to start off just bringing in a basic primitive cube. So by clicking on the little cube button, the cube comes into our scene. I'm going to be pressing R to enable my scaling option or my scaling gizmo so that I can scale this guy up, and then W for the move tool. Like I said, you need to get used to using the shortcut keys for your manipulator or your gizmo. So just to quickly run over them again, W is your move tool, E is your rotation, and R is your scale. And then of course, last but not least, Q, so that you can just click and select objects. Now that I have my polygon here, now if I go and right click on the polygonal object, you'll see there are different components that you have access to on a polygon object. First, you got your edges, then verts, and then faces. Do not concern yourself about these other options in this ring. We will be covering them at a later stage when we get to more in-depth modeling techniques. The ones you need to concern yourself with is edge, vertex, and face. So if I go into vertex, you will see that Maya changes the wireframe display that you see on your object. But now you can see these little tiny squares that pop up on the corners of this cube. This is the lowest component a polygon shape can have, a single vertex. You can consider this vertex as a pixel. And then what happens is two verts that connect. If I hold down shift, I can select the second vert. Two verts that connect form a edge. And then if I rotate around, you can see this face on top here has 4 verts and 4 edges, which creates a polygon face. So if I go right click and face mode, you can see it creates a polygon face. A polygon face with 4 sides is referred to as a quad. And then you can get polygon shapes that only have 3 sides, which is referred to as a tri or triangle. Then you got polygon faces that have more than 4 sides. Those are referred to as n-gons. They tend to be frowned upon within the modeling workflow. So as a modeler, you have to steer clear of creating n-gons, as well as attempt to steer clear of creating any triangles in your shape. Quads are the most effective use of a polygon face and the most desired outcome when creating polygon objects, so that your entire mesh is just comprised of quads. So if I had to take this cube now and go again, right click, and I go to vertex mode, and let's say grab this vert, I can go W and start moving this vert around. You can see that starts changing the silhouette of this cube. Still a cube, but now we're changing the way this cube looks, and we can start taking the verts and move them around to create a more custom shape that comes closer to what we need in the sense of our concept art. Now I've made some weird lopsided cube, it seems. I'm just using my basic move gizmos in the sense of scaling, rotating, and moving. You can see I can grab a bunch of them and rotate. If you grab one, it won't do anything because it's just rotating on that single pixel, and the pixel does not affect anything else. But if I go to edge mode and grab an edge and then rotate, you'll see it manipulates those 2 verts, which in then turn manipulates the look of the polygon face that we have. Then last but not least, if I go right click and go to face mode and select a face, I can take this face and move it, rotate it, scale it down, and just start manipulating it to get into more of the shape that I require to reproduce the concept art in 3D space. That in a nutshell is polygon modeling. It is the manipulation of a polygon's components, which is the edge, vertex, or face of a polygon object, to create a desired shape that represents the object that we would like to either recreate in 3D space or actually create from a concept art piece. So with that said, I'm going to end this lesson off here, and in the next lesson I want to cover the general rules of polygon modeling, the do's and don'ts, if you could say. So catch you in the next lesson.